Welcome. Today we return to one of the most mysterious pages of World War II, the fate of the German submarine U-869. Years of myths and official versions seem to have written their final chapter, yet recent discoveries cast doubt on everything we thought we knew about its destiny. On a single day in February 1945, the U.S. Navy reported the sinking of a submarine off the coast of New Jersey, which, according to official accounts, was lost near the Strait of Gibraltar during a dangerous mission. So why did the debris found 36 years later on another coast look completely different from what the Americans documented? How can an entire submarine disappear and remain unnoticed when eyewitness testimonies and artifacts inside suggest an internal explosion, not a combat collision? It's not just a historical mystery at stake. It's a question of how many secrets war concealed, about covert operations, betrayals, hidden missions, without which everything might have changed. It's about what lies behind official reports and what truly happened on that fateful February day. In this investigation, we will gather all the disparate pieces to reveal the shocking truth that could alter our understanding of that war. We will separate myths from facts and show that much more than silence in the depths of the ocean is hidden beneath the surface. Are you ready to see what's concealed in the archives and hear the voices of those who vanished without a trace? Then, let's begin. In the depths of the Atlantic Ocean, where waters stretch silently and mercilessly, one of the most mysterious pages of World War II history has been concealed for decades. A fate once shrouded in myths, 50 years seem to have sealed it. The German submarine U-869 disappeared without a trace in the waters near the Strait of Gibraltar. That was the accepted story. That was the common belief. However, today, half a century later, confidence in this traditional account is being harshly challenged, and the mystery takes on a darker, more unsettling tone. The story begins in February 1945, around the strategic choke point of the Strait of Gibraltar, where Mediterranean and Atlantic waters meet. Hundreds of German submarines operated and concealed themselves. Official documents from that time state, during that month, under orders from High Command of the Wehrmacht, U-869 was to go on a perilous patrol to intercept Allied vessels, for whom this region had become a deadly chessboard. It was expected that the submarine would operate in complete secrecy, hidden from enemy radar, and during this mission, it would disappear, leaving only assumptions and legends in its wake. But tragedy struck. In the United States, thousands of kilometers away from the Strait of Gibraltar, the German submarine vanished. It happened on the same day, February 11th of that year, as claimed by American intelligence agencies and Navy officers, when ships and patrol boats reported finding a wrecked German vessel off the coast of New Jersey. A massive submarine that, according to them, was the final resting place of U-869. Verified eyewitness testimonies, supported by reports and photographs, indicated that these shores, in the States, were where the remains of the vanished submarine were discovered. And the matter was closed. The entire official record, the whole story about the fate of U-869, so it is claimed, ended with this act of destruction. For many years, this version seemed undeniable. Who can doubt the documentary facts when they are backed up by images, reports, and intelligence data? After all, hundreds of studied archives and documents stored in secret Western government archives confirmed. The German submarine was destroyed off the coast of the States. Its disappearance became one of many closed questions of World War II. Did they possibly exclude alternative theories, perhaps due to political or military reasons? Could historians and military experts simply stick to this view, given that the evidence seemed incontrovertible? Yet, in the early 90s, everything changed. One warm, sunny day, when North American divers submerged near the U.S. coast, their attention was drawn by an unusual find: debris which, in appearance and size, should have belonged to a submarine. At first, these fragments looked like ordinary sea reefs or remnants of regular ship structures. But only upon closer examination did it become clear this was something different. Mechanical parts, metal fragments corroded by time, but clearly bearing shapes reminiscent of nodes, structures, and components characteristic of submarines. What surprised scientists and specialists was that these remnants bore no standard identification marks or labels typical of modern cruiser hulls. But the most astonishing discovery was that within the debris, German inscriptions were found. Their exact content, when compared with archival records, indicated that yes, these fragments were indeed from U-869. Through concerted effort, using modern technologies and archival data, it was possible to reconstruct details, manometers, metal parts with markings, personal items shedding light on the crew's fate. And here, a mystery emerged. Among the found items was a Herbert Herrenberg, a crew member, apparently one of those involved in the fateful mission. Evidence of this included personal belongings, engraved items, mementos that could be linked to recent history. An irrefutable discovery was also made of a unique object, a dinner knife with an engraved name, which confirmed not only that the relic belonged to the submarine, but also connected it to recent history, the crew, and their destinies. A multitude of questions. Why, if the initial legends of the audience and the official version indicated that U-869 sank off the Strait of Gibraltar, do modern discoveries off the coast of the United States suggest the opposite? What is the layered fabric of official history concealing? Why did the disappearance of the German submarine, according to compromise reports, occur on one shore, while findings elsewhere point to an entirely different location of the tragedy? Was there another scenario? Or perhaps it all comes down to secret agreements and a fate deliberately kept in the shadows? This question becomes especially sharp when analyzing the evidence. Some researchers suggest the possibility of an internal explosion or sabotage inside the submarine. Others do not rule out a combat collision or even a covert operation. Maybe this submarine became a victim of a conspiracy or destruction during a special operation beyond the scope of official histories. Or perhaps indeed some accident occurred that has been forever hidden from the view of history. Or there are hidden reasons why the fate of this vessel was kept silent. Yet, the main question remains unanswered. What truly happened? Why has the official version, so long and insistently promoted, been challenged for the first time? Why was public consciousness shaped by certain facts, and now it is about to face an unexpectedly new reality full of nuances and unclear details? Facts show the disappearance of U-869 is not just a tragic mishap, but perhaps part of a broader, dramatic story whose course is still concealed beneath the depths of the ocean, under layers of flattering legends and official protocols. The discovery of wreckage off the coast of the United States raises many questions and becomes a challenge for historians, intelligence agencies, for those who sincerely wish to understand what really happened. And most importantly, what do hidden depths of the sea conceal in those endless sands of time? Because if such mysteries are left unexamined, their uncovering will determine not only our historical memory, but also modern perceptions of the secrets of World War II. And amidst those silent wrecks lie answers, or new questions that compel us again and again to look into the depths where something long lost awaits its time. Overall, on that day in the Pacific Theater of Military Operations, there was a special, tense atmosphere, as if it was itself contracting into a deep, ominous hum, like a premonition of Shadow's triumph. American ships, destroyers, massive and fearless, patrolled waters where, until recently, torpedoes whistled and the gleaming peaks of war machines thundered. Exact coordinates were recorded in onboard logs, commands were issued, and it seemed that this machinery of wartime, an iron confirmation of victory, confidence in one's strength, was in full motion. However, amid these reports and figures, a mystery lurked, ready to dissuade even the most convinced war lawyers. During the years when the war was reaching its peak and every loss could be decisive, why did the submarine, whose crew went missing, disappear? Why, despite all efforts from both sides, did a true confrontation unfold not only in reality, but also beyond the boundaries of logic? The official version, recorded in the archives of the American Navy, stated that U-869 was destroyed in a naval battle, that it was lost as a result of collisions with destroyer crews, specifically with USS Hardard-Dachau and USS Cushing. These words seemed painfully straightforward. Reports, onboard logs, command statements, all pointed to a classic combat disaster. The German submarine caught in the net of American superiority, and in a frantic battle, it was destroyed. But behind these facts, there was always something more. In archival documents, carefully dated and authenticated by eyewitness accounts, there were also gaps. The reliability of these testimonies, important, undeniable, is solid. But the debris found years later, raised from the seabed, did not match the coordinates and damage characteristics recorded in combat reports. Bold claims and the official version clashed, and each new discovery only deepened the doubts. Debris recovered from the depths of the Japanese and Pacific Ocean floors seemed to tell a contrasting story. Internal damages found within the wreckage indicated that the submarine had exploded from within, almost as if the core of catastrophe had pierced inside. The destruction inside the hull, a perfect symbol of an internal explosion, corresponded to what experts felt was happening inside. An unimaginable disaster was unfolding. This conflicted with external battle traces, which, logically, should have left signs of explosion on the hull, caused by shells or torpedoes. Instead, there was chaos of internal destruction, difficult to explain by collision with an enemy ship. And what was even more alarming, no traces of crew were found inside, and the site of the sinking appeared to be lost in the annals of history, like a story of a disappearance without a trace. Who was responsible for this internal catastrophe? Could it be that the tragedy was not due to the enemy, but rather internal reasons, malfunction, error, or treachery within the crew? Pay attention. At that time, the technological level and intelligence capabilities allowed for incredible conclusions. Hypotheses became part of military strategy, but at the same time, they formed a game of secrets and mysteries, which with each passing day grew more enigmatic. One of the hypotheses explaining the submarine's disappearance suggested that it could have accidentally or negligently been destroyed due to a faulty torpedo or targeting systems. At a moment when the batteries were at their limit and submarine equipment was vulnerable, even the slightest malfunction could have caused unpredictable consequences. An internal explosion caused by a malfunctioning safety system might have been possible. In this case, circular movement, internal deformations, and tears would be a logical explanation for the disappearance of the vessel without any signs of external collision. Such hypotheses most closely aligned with the idea of internal vulnerability, secret mistakes, and human factors in wartime conditions. But the main question arises: what if everything was different? Not an accident or internal malfunction? What if behind this disappearance were secret operations, covert missions, of which even the top leadership was unaware? Perhaps U-869 was not just a submarine, but a carrier of secret cargo, agents, or special materials not mentioned in official documents. In that case, the entire explanation changes, from a simple scenario of combat loss to a complex web of conspiracy, where the true cause remains hidden behind layers of secrecy, political intrigue, and the secrets of intelligence agencies. This hypothesis is supported by findings: the German artifacts and debris discovered inside the wreckage, part numbers, crew personal belongings, which experts compared with information stored in the archives of Shimosha AG shipyard, all indicating that not the full truth has come to light. And most importantly, Herbert Gusevsky's testimony, the last living witness and participant of those events, adds another layer to the mystery. His account of what he saw confirms that the wreckage discovered later indeed belongs to U-869. He, having survived the flames of war, remains to remember and verify his memory, asserting that no one was inside the submarine. The testimonies of this veteran, though filtered through time and fear, are nonetheless vivid echoes of the harsh truth that the official version seems to conceal. If these accounts are true, then perhaps the real story lies in this internal tragedy, rather than in a combat collision. But how reliable are all these testimonies? And ultimately, who destroyed that submarine? What did the military archives left behind, scripted, processed, and hidden from view, conceal? Here lies the core conflict. Is the sinking of U-869 the result of an internal malfunction, an accidental explosion due to engineering failure, or conversely, a tragedy caused by an external enemy? Or perhaps it is only part of a broader, much more secret story, shrouded in darkness and shadows. How much can we trust the official version, supported by accounts and onboard logs? And was the ship really destroyed by American destroyers? Or, as usual, is the truth buried even deeper, behind sealed layers of documents and gaps in memory? For years after the war, the gaze continued to seek that elusive truth. Inside every fact, every fragment of wreckage, lies a silence that speaks loudly and anxiously, suggesting that the real story, perhaps, is not what the official narratives claim. And so, among the amassed evidence, crucial proofs, and complex conjectures, a question arises. What could have happened on the ocean floor that remained beyond human comprehension? Could an internal catastrophe, an explosion caused by a human or mechanical error, be so destructive that it completely erased the crew and destroyed the submarine itself? Or is it all part of a larger spectacle, concealing a mysterious game of unseen forces behind which lies a terrifying truth? And only the pursuit of ultimate truth can shed light on the unresolvable secret that stubbornly remains hidden in the depths of the Pacific. All the fight against facts and evidence, all the illusions of scientific and military explanations, these are only parts of the puzzle that time cannot stop. And we all, as spectators of this story, are forced to ask difficult questions. Questions whose answers, if they exist, will forever remain closed, beyond human understanding, beyond bureaucratic command protocols and secret reports, in the dark depths of the abyss, where one of the most mysterious underwater tragedies of our era was located, and perhaps forever lost. When the ocean hides its secrets, it reveals them when we least expect. And in this, there lies a special, invisible power of water. It attracts not only our ships and cargo, but also forgotten memories, slipping stories of young heroes who perished in the abyss of illusions, captured by rust and waves. In the 21st century, an era of information technology and unobtrusive sensors, it seems that all the world's secrets have already been uncovered, or at least measured and recorded. But just a little deeper exploration reveals a new chapter in history, the story hidden beneath the water's surface, the story of those forgotten by people, their fears, dreams, and tragedies lying in the wreckage of long-abandoned ships. The discovery off the coast of New Jersey in 1991 was not just a find. It exemplifies how modern technology, advanced sonar systems, and deep-sea diving equipment allow us to revisit hidden corners of military history, often forever buried under layers of sand and salt water. Valves, propellers, personal belongings of young sailors, all of these have become unique relics that say that inside these metal ruins lie not only military secrets, but also a living human destiny. The remains resting on the ocean floor, like silent witnesses, quietly testify to an era when people took risks, trusting their skills and faith, even despite the dangers lurking in the dark depths. The appearance of these objects, their cool surfaces captured in ultra-modern scanning images, evokes a sense of touching a long-gone time. Inside, personal belongings that initially seemed insignificant, watches, letters, diaries, glasses, all serve as testimonies that help us understand that behind heroism and feats lie human stories, their fears and hopes, daytime labors, and nighttime anxieties. But sometimes, it is precisely in personal belongings, in tiny details buried in the sand and cracked rust, that the most vivid and tragic portrait of this crew is revealed. The evidence that has come down to us, like pieces of a mosaic, forms a complete picture of the human portrait of the young men who believed in their mission. Among them is a personal message from Germany Herrenberg, written on a colorful card. It may seem like just words, but within these words, one can read the entire soul, all the faith in the mission that became their destiny. This message, like a living voice crossing the boundaries of time, confirms that these sailors were not just numbers on a lost voyage, but real people, young, hopeful, yet simultaneously burdened by the weight of dangers, expectations, and the unknown. Their image thus becomes more tangible, and the seemingly silent, tragic death takes on a human voice. Thanks to modern technologies, using multispectral imaging, Google Earth, and automated detection systems, these wreckage fragments are beginning to come to life. We restore their voices, their stories. It is through contemporary systems that we can search for and identify lost ships, bringing to life not only military artifacts, but also the people who inhabited them. Reconstructed satellite data, analysis of multispectral images. All of this is done not for fame or scientific documentation, but to make history more human. More importantly, it ensures that the memory of these young heroes does not become just statistics or another line in books. Now, it is a living, breathing story, bringing them back to us, to our time, reminding us that behind every number and date lies an endless multitude of lives. Understanding these facts, we begin to ask ourselves, what is truly hidden behind the rusted metal and patches of algae? What personal stories, fates, lessons remain lost if we do not pay attention to them? How does technological progress help us literally cross the boundaries of time before our eyes, bringing back to life what seemed forever lost? This question will not leave those indifferent who understand that history is not measured solely by dates and events. History is alive people, their fears, dreams, hopes, unfulfilled promises. And now, in an era of new discoveries, we can hear their voices, quiet, often ignored amid the noise of modern life. These discoveries serve as a vivid reminder that even something as forgotten and abandoned as sunken submarines can become a living testament. They remind us that history is not only dry records, but above all, humanity, individuals, destinies, stories. And despite all the rust and the abyss hidden beneath the water, each found object, each remains, each note is a candidate to be heard and remembered. The value of this memory entails a long-term responsibility to do everything possible to ensure that these voices do not fall silent, that they are heard and understood. And this is the most important significance of new technologies. They not only help find and identify, but also offer a chance to re-examine the past, to make it more human, and to preserve the present in the memories of future generations. After all, any fragment, any object, any surviving artifact is not just a discovery. It is a living witness. It is the final cry of a young sailor who, once caught between war and the ocean, was never able to return home. It is in these voices, in these destinies, that the greatest truth lies. History is not only dates and events, but also the memory of people willing to sacrifice everything for their mission. Their fates are part of our shared heritage, which can become clearer and closer if we look downward, beneath the water, and learn to listen to them. Because it is there, in the depths of the ocean, that the most genuine lessons of our time are alive, about bravery, fear, hope, and oblivion. And this memory is our responsibility. It is our task to make the past more accessible more human, so that the memory and lessons of war remain alive not only in books, but also in the hearts of seekers, in the voices of silent heroes sleeping beneath the water.